sure, sure. Can others see us now?
Yes, sir, I can see you.
Yes, sir.
No,
I
but
think you can also.
Yes.
yes, I can see you. About the participants.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Participants
they can
also
see us.
can see you all.
Okay, fine. Fine.
Taha sir, has Nair sir joined in?
I'll just check, ma'am. 1 second.
I'm there, but I'm not there on the video.
We can. File open है? PPT open है?
सबको शेयर करना है आप शेयर कंटेंट्स में
Space पे open.
वो देखिएगा
Audio off.
वो देखिएगा आपके फाइल्स जो भी शेयर कर रहे हैं आप
वो ठीक.
तो लोड करने तक थोड़ा रुकेंगे प्लीज. फाइन बाकी.
Taha sir, you may just tell all the participants to mute themselves, except for Pathros sir, you and myself,
Okay, ma'am.
and just indicate me when Nair sir has joined.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. I request all the participants to put your video also on stop mode and please mute yourself.
अभी मैं ऑफ हूँ ना, जब मैं ऑन करूँगा तभी आऊँगा ना.
स्टार्ट पता चल
मैडम को कंप्लीट करना है, उसके बाद डायरेक्ट शेयर पे आके शुरू कर देंगे.
Let's join,
Taha
ma'am.
sir, I think now. Yes. So, shall I start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, one and all present in this third webinar series from College of Architecture, SVIT Vasar, the title of which is Heritage of Sites of India, Their Origin, Upkeep and Conservation. Today is the second part of the webinar series, the title of which is Documentation and Development of Heritage Walk in the Walled City of Amritsar, Punjab by eminent architect Ibrahim Pathros. Now I would request our principal sir, Professor Sailesh Nair, to welcome Pathros sir. Sailesh Nair sir, please.
Good evening, one and all over here. On behalf of College of Architecture SVIT, I am privileged to welcome Architect Ibrahim Pathros sir. I hope this series will be a wonderful series and specifically on conservation and heritage. This is a very important topic for our academia also. I hope the students will also enjoy. I see a lot of professionals also have joined. So I hope let us have a wonderful session today. Welcome, Ibrahim sir. And before Ibrahim Pathros sir starts the session, I request Taha to please play the video of our college.
Yes. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot, madam, for giving me the wonderful opportunity. I
Yes, sir.
welcome
Yes, sir.
all the students and participants here who have taken their valuable time to join this webinar. And
Sir, we are
this
starting this,
webinar is,
sir, we are starting a video after this.
yes.
Thank you so much, Taha sir. I think this video was a very nice introduction to the people who have joined all over the country as an introduction for our college, which is an important college in Gujarat, College of Architecture SVIT Vasar, and it has also started interior design since last year. Through this platform, I would first like to introduce our guest speaker for today, architect Ebrahim Patros. A visionary who coined the title for his city as the City of Gates, Aurangabad, through his exhaustive dissertation in the year 1995-96, a national award winner who holds immense professional expertise in architectural projects as civil, interior, landscape, heritage conservation projects, tourism development projects, and DPR preparation for infrastructure development projects for various towns. During his professional career of 24 years, he has served as project architect for Public Authority for Civil Aviation, Kuwait, and was designated as Cultural Heritage Conservation Specialist, Cultural Heritage Management and Museum Designer for various architectural and infrastructure development projects in the states of Maharashtra, Kerala, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan. Based on his immense experience, he was specifically appointed for national level projects in India as heritage conservation expert and inner city renewal expert for Ministry of Urban Design funded smart city projects of Indore, Ajmer, and Udaipur. Architect Ebrahim Patros started his experience, technical know-how, and observations recently through a TED Talk for TEDx GNEC Aurangabad in year 2019 on creating awareness for conserving heritage sites and tourism development in India and across the world. In this webinar, he will present one among his many prestigious projects from his professional career, documentation and development of Heritage Walk for the walled city of Amritsar, Punjab, for which dedicated services were applauded by Principal Secretary, Punjab Heritage and Tourism Promotion Brand. His passion continues for sharing, and as he goes as a guest faculty to Master of Architecture and Master of Tourism Administration, guiding aspirants in the related fields of architecture and tourism development. He conducts on-site visits and workshops for students, creating awareness to protect our rich cultural heritage. We are indeed very lucky to have him as the speaker for this webinar today. He was instrumental in guiding me for arranging this series also. And one thing before the beginning of the webinar, I would like to tell all the participants that at the end, they need to put their name, their cell numbers, and their email IDs in the chat box so that we are able to provide them with a participation certificate. Now, I would like to give the floor to Ebrahim Patros, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir. You are audible. Your video is not coming.
Okay. Is it visible now? Hello.
Not yet, sir.
Okay, just a second. Can you unmute all? I'll just upload it once again.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Okay, fine. So may I proceed?
Yes, sir. But your video is not showing.
Here, I have already shared it.
Taha, I can see the video.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
Taha, I can see the video. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, shall I proceed, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can proceed.
Okay. So I ask your apology for the design and supervision consultants for the project, and the project was initiated by Punjab Heritage and Tourism Promotion Board under IDIPT project, which was Asian Bank funded project. This is documentation development of the heritage block of old walled city of Amritsar. So to all the participants, I expect most of the participants are students, academicians, and people from related interests. So as we understand that our country is rich in heritage all across. So we had been going to so many places, visiting sites, and we had been going to all tourist destinations wherein they are rich of heritage. Now when we come to Amritsar, I doubt if any one of us would have missed visiting such a wonderful land, wonderful city, which is Amritsar, the city with the lake of nectar, Amritsar, the pool of nectar. That's how it is called, Amritsar. Here, during the project, we have defined a particular stretch of inner side of the city. When we generally visit Amritsar, what we...
Taha, sir? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Taha, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hello. So when we visit Amritsar, what we generally visit is Golden Temple and Jallianwala Bagh, and after that we go to Wagah border. The idea behind this particular project to be undertaken was to hold the tourists for a few more days and allow them to witness the rich cultural grandeur of the city. For this, 11 to 14 pause points were defined. These pause points are sites which have some cultural and historic background. Like in this, as you see, there are some numbers put. We enter from town hall, the one which you see here as marked 1. Further, we move ahead to pause point 2, which is Gurdwara Saragadi. And then we walk ahead through this pink dotted lines. And that's the heritage walk, which is in a stretch of around 1.5 kilometers to 2 kilometers. Now, all these pause points were defined, and we decided initially that when a tourist moves from that particular lane, the first impression is its facade. So we took over the facade conservation. Along with that, supporting all the street furnitures, basic amenities, what a tourist requires, keeping it clean, the vicinity should be well maintained, and that's how the entire project was taken. For this, various staff worked together in a collective manner, and different layers of organizations were deputed for this. I'll move further. The blue line which you see in this heritage walk map is an optional heritage walk route, which was not very compulsory for a tourist to go ahead. Now, this particular walk is different for a foreigner and Indian with different prices. Like for one Indian, they charge 25 rupees, and for one foreigner, it was 75 rupees. People who were aspirants, they were trained under this particular program, and they were developed in a manner that they could speak about their city, its rich heritage culture. You know, Amritsar, people go there mainly to visit the holy shrine of the Sikh Golden Temple, which is also called as Harminder Sahib or Darbar Sahib. This city is culturally rich. The entire city has got so many festive seasons like Hola Mohalla, Baisakhi, Lodi, and many other festivals. The entire state is vibrant. I doubt if anyone of you would have missed any songs which are not the Punjabi numbers and all. Now here, you move ahead further, reading about how the walk goes ahead. The first pause point was Town Hall. Then we moved to Gurdwara Saragadi. Gurdwara Saragadi is the site which was recently seen by all of you in the movie Kesri. It is a war memorial. There are 3 Gurdwaras built on the war memorial to commemorate the brave martyrship of 21 brave soldiers of Sikh regiment who were representing the British Army. One is in Firozpur, second is in Amritsar, and third one is in Pakistan. There are 3 different locations where Gurdwara Saragadi was built. Each and every site, when you pass by this old lanes of Amritsar, is very rich in its art form. You will just walk by watching each and every building around you, the intricate fresco artworks which are on the buildings, brickworks which is in Nanakshahi bricks or the Lakhori bricks we call, intricate woodworks, various craft works in the entire region which is called Jaratkari, Gach, Lehin, Pinjra and Tukdi works. They take you around speaking about the past. It is a collective art form of all the artisans who came from various areas and regions, especially Persian art you can see here in great form. Punjab has a past wherein historically it was much related to Persia, and Indo-Greek culture is very commonly visible. Moving ahead, when we took over these pause points, we started working on them and various details were developed. We had to document the site. The first and foremost, what we must do as a person who is appointed, may it be an architect, a draftsman, a conservation architect, or any technical student or staff, we need to first document the entire region. So when we started working, we didn't have much technical gadgets and tools with us. So we started working with manual measuring tapes. And this is Gurdwara Saragadi, which you see on your right bottom. We measured each and every area of it, prepared the floor plans. Now I'm sharing very limited details here because the number of slides are many and the duration is very limited with us. So this, as you see here, is ground floor plan. Each and every site was measured. The idea behind which is either we document it in drawing manner by measured drawings, photographic documentation, and videographic documentation. Now, when it comes to photography and video documentation, the measurements are not there with us. Even if we go by laser technology and protestation working, those have technical supports have also got some shortfalls, and we have limitations to use them as there are adjoining buildings here. Amritsar is quite closely built. I mean, there are a lot of structures adjoining each other, so we cannot move very freely. Even the lanes, what you see in the old town, are not wider than 10 to 12 feet. So even if two cycle rickshaws have to move, it becomes very tight. Here you see, initially I showed you the floor plan. Entire facades, all facades, along with their damages were recorded by means of interventions. Each and every art form was documented. Now this became a wonderful documentation for the entire government department in the state, wherein even if in case any particular falls due to some unforeseen circumstances, if there are 4 minars, and if, for example, we have one existing and they are documented properly with dimensions, we can always redo that and we can revive that particular area. So like this, all architectural features of Gurudwara Saragadi were documented. These are various areas which you can see. Now you can relate the photograph and the drawing together. The interventions were listed. Each and every minute area where the damages may it be popping and peeling of plaster, damage in the stone jali, which was in Red Agra sandstone, or you say a small portion of a minaret or a gumbad fallen down, everything was documented. Now here we face a lot of difficulty while working, because you know that there are 10 parab in Sikh community, and whenever there's a parab, you have a lot of bulbs and lightings and all illuminated on top. So we cannot walk with shoes or sandals on the rooftop, it being a holy shrine, and this had a sanctum sanctorum in the middle. So we always had to face a lot of difficulties, harsh sun, and the team was very small. It had one CAD support and support staff and myself initially, but we always had engineering team supporting us for estimations. But initially the takeoff sheets were prepared by us. Moving ahead to the later sites, initially after Gurudwara Saragadi, we had Kila Ahluwalia. Kila Ahluwalia is an ancient township with 3 to 4 floors of buildings above each other, just like the modern township we see in today's time. That is mostly crowded by the cloth traders that side, but we did not get NOC from Kila Ahluwalia. So then we moved ahead to Udasin Ashram Akhada Chitta. This was a mutt which was administering it, and Chitta Akhada had its own mahant. So every time we used to start working on each and every pause point. A heritage site on which we are working is defined as a pause point where a tourist takes a pause. So further, when we move ahead, we experience that every pause point which is undertaken in the project is highlighted in a manner that on the road there is a marking, so that the walker-by or the tourist learns that yes, this is the place where I have to stop and see on my left or right. The tourist guides, of course, they are there, but in the daytime, when the city is crowded and the inner lanes is full of traders and all moving around, that time a tourist loves to walk on his own. Here you see Chitta Akhada, which was founded in 1781. This building existed in Red Agra sandstone by its facade. As you see on the left side photographs on top, it had intricate artwork which was very difficult for us to document manually. But our entire team was working relentlessly on this, and day in and night out, we all were working, documenting each and every area. Now here you see in the initial photograph, like Airtel signboards and classic watches and all are there on the right. After that, these were removed, and we defined the rectangles which are marked down were defined with a specified signage and a signboard, which was specially designed for the entire trail. On the left hand side, you can see the left hand side bottom, you can see the photograph which shows the streetscape. Now to take the photograph, the length of the facade was such that in one photograph we could not fix it, though you see in the drawing that it seems very small in length, but then it was quite difficult for us to take it in one image. This is the main entrance. Now you see, you can compare the left-hand side photograph with the right-hand side drawing which is prepared. Nothing is rastered here. Everything was taken, physically measured. We had takeoff sheets because when you prepare the estimate, you cannot hypothecate the measurements. You have to go in detail, because when the contractor will bid for the project, he requires each and every measurement. The benefit of doing a proper documentation before the project is that when the contractor will start working and when his bills will start getting presented, already you will have all the measurements and takeoff sheets in your hand. But like not similar to the routine buildings wherein we know the new buildings, what all you are going to construct from the initial day. Unlike that, here there are some unforeseen areas which crop in. Like for example, there is a pop and peel plaster. We just try to knock and remove. But when you remove that, you learn that there was a window which has been closed in the later times. So you have to take that window and start working on that as well. You cannot leave that. Now in this image, you see the brown marked areas. They were all closed by wooden panels, wherein the blue ones are glazed panes. Later on, all these areas were the wooden planks which were closed with plywoods, because in the recent past, some glasses got damaged. So it was redone, and same thickness of glass. Everything has to be in the original form. So working in the similar manner, fresco art, the glazed tiles, everything was brought in. The jali which was damaged in various parts was redone. In the existing drawing, we have to start mentioning which all areas have what all problems. Like for example, if there is a small area wherein some ornate part is damaged, or some corner of red agra sandstone cladding is not in existence, we have to redo that in the same form. Now, moving ahead, you see here that you here have all these particular doors which were documented and which were worked upon. Now here you see that each and every area has been measured. Even if you see the top door frame, you can see the curvy part has been measured. You cannot drop a single offset of a door frame. Every frame needs to be worked upon. Like for example, when the person will start working, the contractor especially, he will have to record each and every dimension. Any measurement which is below 0.3 meters, that is 1 feet, will be measured in running meters. Anything above that will be measured in square meters. That is a simple thumb rule, even which is practiced locally, even when you execute your own private projects. Similarly, the estimate was prepared. The items which didn't have proper records in the document, like for example, the rates are set by government. First, we follow that particular district's rate. Provided we don't get rates of particular items in that district schedule of rates, that is DSR, we have to move to adjoining districts. Even if in adjoining districts or the state we don't find, we have to move further with details and rates which are available in the adjoining states. Now, even if it is not available in the adjoining states DSR, then we have to prepare our own rate analysis, for which we have to go to the traders, the private contract suppliers, contractors. We have to take the actual rates, start preparing each and every rate on our own. Then only we'll reach to the price, and accordingly the estimate is prepared. It is, the tenders are floated, and contractors who are aspirant for the project, they bid for the project. Proper analysis is done, and the project is awarded, and the project moves. This is the basic methodology how a project is developed and further tendered and given order to the contractor to move further. This Chitta Akhada had some ventilators on top which were damaged with its wooden tops. Like here you see, just like what the Chhajja we have in the recent times in RCC, there were wooden panes which were fixed together to complete the profile of the area. These are the jali to represent that particular area above the drawing, we have put images so that it can be related. Now, all this document was to further go to PMC. We represented design and supervision consultants. Now, as a DSC expert, my task was to develop the project, get the details prepared properly. The entire DPR was prepared by our team, and further it is submitted to the project management consultants. And there is a layer of equal number of people that side, maybe even little less. They will do scrutiny of the entire submission what we have made. If there is any lacuna or shortfall, they'll revert it back through a letter. We have to attend those areas. There'll be possibly some joint visits which we conduct, and then the project is frozen, and then it is tendered. So here you see the way the details were prepared. Each and every area, a small pillar, a floral relief, jali. We didn't have any total station. We didn't have any laser scanning methods to work. It was even not a distometer. So it was just measured by physical meters. All the manually written takeoff sheets were preserved and kept very safe in the office. It was shared amongst all so that work doesn't get held up. Now this is another site, another pause point coming ahead. This Thakur Dwara Daryanamal temple. Thakurji is Lord Krishna's babyhood. And that's how this temple was Lord Krishna's temple. Thakur Dwara Daryanamal was a renowned person in that region, a renowned trader. Amritsar is a busy city full of trade, especially in textile and even other spices and all. So moving further here, this area which you see here on the left and right of the dry distemper paint, you can see some areas have popped out. Behind that, you can see the fresco art, and even on the door, they just painted enamel paint in brown, because every time there is some festive season, they have to otherwise maintain it. This door was not in, fairly on the top, it was in good condition, but the floor was in a deteriorated state. So particular section of the door, which was damaged, were removed and redone. Now further to this, as you saw in the poster of mine, you could see some cable lines moving each and every part crisscross. Here, even in the middle photograph, you can see that the cables are going, and it was creating a very shabby impression to the tourists and visitors, even the pilgrims who used to move ahead. Now, when you go to Golden Temple, mainly you enter from Hall Gate, then you go to Town Hall, you reach to Fumara Chowk, and straight away you go to Golden Temple. That is a routine stretch which recently has been developed under a different project. It was not this particular head of project. So in that, now it is, that was not executed by me. My region was from Fumara Chowk, after Town Hall, Gurdwara Saragadi, Kila Ahluwalia, you take a right turn, you reach to Katra Ahluwalia. And further here you can see the way the electric poles, cables and all were haphazardly running. So this entire cable was laid later on through underfloor trunking. So we had electrical engineer in our team, a civil estimator with us, environmental experts who were there with us. In some sites, we could find there are some trees and some plants. If due to any reason, even if a people plant, we cannot just uproot it. There is a proper methodology in which the environmental expert documents that particular site. He is a part of our team. He will learn what is the foliage of the plant, what is the girth of the root, the tree, the stem. And after writing each and every detail that what is the reason, the reasoning has to be given, then only that particular plant vegetation growth will be removed. That is under his responsibility. Then there are environmental, social safeguard specialists and community development officers, CDOs. Their task is to interact with the locals. Like for example, now if you go to this particular temple of Thakur Dwara Daryanamal, the temple authorities, mostly which are Duryana Temple Trust Authority, they may initially hesitate to give NOC for government, a different sector, a different office to execute through their funds on their building. So we have to pursue the regular meetings with them we have to go with our team leader, our experts, our staff. We'll explain them the project, why it is necessary, what are our aims and objectives, how they will get benefited, how tourists will get a pleasant view, and how the city will portray in a better manner to the pilgrims, tourists, and the natives of that particular region. Then, after they are convinced, they will issue us a NOC, wherein it is very clearly mentioned that no damage or alteration will be done on behalf of the owner or the stakeholder without informing the upper office, the related office. But purely the ownership rights remains with them. There is no difference in that. Here in the previous slide, you could see some brackets which are here. The image doesn't show them all. They were sketched first, then they were prepared with a CAD drawing. The foot line had some small basement, the base, again in floral pattern. Most of them were carved out in brickwork. Initially, the brick pillar is prepared out of which this wonderful floral relief is prepared. Now, this was, as I said, that we were especially working on the facade. Initially, we didn't go in, but provided while working on facade, like for example here, this is the front line. Now, if I'm working on the front line and there are some wooden timbers from the back room coming and projecting in the wall, and while working on this, we need to attend that region, then yes, even that area is taken up. Like here you see, once I enter from the main door, the floor was damaged. So having some ornate pattern, we prepared, this is the existing drawing which has got all the measurements with niches and every small area measured. Then the floor area, the design, what we proposed. So the green ones are green marble, the Jaisalmer, Red Agra sandstone, which are on which you can polish. You know very well that granite cannot be polished with hand polishing machine very easily. It has to be done, it has to be pre-polished in the mill and then it comes. So here we took materials which could be polished properly there and then itself. Now here moving ahead, the first floor also was taken in. This is the Sanctum Sanctorum. You have to climb steps up and you reach on this floor. The floor plan. Moving ahead, this is the terrace floor plan, which had various small shikharas in between and a massive shikhar in between. The height of the shikhar was nothing less than 25 feet. It was very difficult for us to measure. We didn't have that tall ladders, but due to the support of temple authorities and staff, we could always do it. These are the inner areas, the inner side. Gutch, which you saw initially, this is the Gutch ceiling, wherein gypsum false layering has got intricate art forms. Sometimes they have brass floral patterns which are embedded in them. This is tukdi work, wherein glass work is embedded on the gypsum wall again, as we do punning in today's time in plaster of Paris. Similar punning with glass tukdi work on top. These are the wooden balconies through which you could peep out. The inner Sanctum Sanctorum, on which above the fresco, the method what they felt that time better was enamel painting, but it was very difficult for us to work on it. They had to be removed by a torch method, a blowtorch method, wherein a flame is prepared and it is just like you do the welding. You have to flame it out, and with thick cotton you have to wipe that particular area so as even not to damage the inner original form, and only to allow the upper layer to get away from it. Now on this right you can see lifestyle of Thakurji, Lord Krishna were painted in fresco. Even it exists in the same form as on today. Here you can see the soot of lamps and all blackened the entire area, and the frescoes which are behind, you can see they are in dim form. They were brought out. This is the entire facade which was created. This is visible from the inner courtyard. Now these are wooden doors which are very small in height and through which not more than 1.5 meters. Mostly they acted as jharokas for the temple authorities, the priest family, to peep out from there. The priest family occupied the first floor and they were residing there. And down floors were used for storages. It had a well below. And another part of this temple was used by jewelers and goldsmiths, especially people from Bengal. They were the ones who housed the entire floor, and they are known for embedding diamonds in gold. It's famous. Amritsar is quite famous and known for its jewelry and ornaments. Now here you have you get a chance to witness how it was when we took over the project. So it was very difficult for us to do the condition mapping and measure the areas which have popped out and like damage in a damaged state. At times when this particular plaster you see, have to remove, we have to document and measure the entire area to be done in the development project. Now at times on this wooden doors, distemper painting was done. We had to remove it. Again, the item was taken. And here you see algae deposits and fungal infection have taken place. Entire cleaning of the building. Cleaning is a major item for which scaffolding is required. The scaffold item is taken for the project. Now every time you have some work, you require sufficient scaffold. Initially out of the project, we didn't take entire site because all 12 or 14 pause points were there. We could not take all in one go because when you give it to one contractor, so we have to identify how many trolleys, how many tractors he'll be using, because the city cannot be used. It's not a free city or free space to work upon. It's a crowded city wherein you have to manage the lifestyle of people. You have to accept it as it is, and then only you can move further. Here you see the cables and transformers which are running haphazardly, all were realigned, rerouted, and we made it sure that the entire sky is very clear. And certain encroachments which were done, we could not really get into that area because that is municipal authority's responsibility. Here, the upper floor, the shikhar which I said was very tall for us to work upon. The electrical layouts were prepared for all floors. Now the basic approach of the project is understood, that how it was taken. Different illumination lights were laid in a manner that once you illuminate the corners, the light gives you shades and shadows, which is very important to highlight that particular site. This is Jalebi Wala building. Jalebi Wala building is a building which has a Jalebi Wala shop on the lower floor, which you can see. Though it was a private building, but it was undertaken because in the project, when a tourist moves ahead in his heritage walk, we have to make the project interesting. And that site requires breaks in between, and the tourist guides who are taking them, they allow the tourists to enjoy the local delicacies like malpua, jalebi, and the native dishes. Here you can see the facade on right, wherein some ornate works are there with some sculptures, but then these idols and sculptures which are there depict Euro lifestyle. Like as I said, Indo-Greek culture was very dominant. So Goliath star, angels on the brackets and above some pillars are commonly visible sites. This was again the documented facade elevation of the particular facade. After we documented this site with its facade, the measurements were taken in detail. The road was measured, even the chalk was developed. The chalk had nearly 4 roads accessing from that particular junction. So whenever we work, there are some and elements are visible and evident all across the city. So we have to make it possible that we define certain areas like brackets, some missing elements which are not, don't have any references of that. Sometimes we reach to the owners asking them to go back to their previous photographs and memories wherein they have some record, and we take some references to that, but it's not visible and it's not available, sorry. And at times we have to take references from the adjoining buildings. So there were some 4 to 5 profiles which we defined. This is a window of Jalebi Wala building, but here I'm showing you only one building, one window, whereas each and every window was measured in a similar manner. They were documented on the wooden frames where there are termite like effects on the wooden, and they have got damaged by the course of time due to climatic effects. We had to redo them. Sometimes the wooden sections, only those which are damaged, were removed, and proper base coating done, anti-termite treatment done, various layers of coatings done so as to preserve them from climatic damages and changes. You can see the damaged glasses which were redone. All this, each and every piece of the work needs to be recorded because your estimation should go accordingly. Here, this is Gurudwara Chaurasti Atari. So this is built by the 6th Guru, Guru Har Gobind Singh Ji. Sitting on this particular Gurudwara, he could manage the 32 Hatiya. There are a number of shops near Golden Temple, the old trade shops, and he used to administer the further development works of Golden Temple. This is again Gurudwara Chaurasti Atari. Atari means chalk. Here you can see our team measuring it physically, and as it gets crowded in the daytime, we have to go early morning. We start somewhere at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. With early sunrise, we have to start working. After getting done with the drawings and proposal drawings, we had to reach with all these drawings to SGPC office and meet the Pradhan of SGPC, Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee. And unless and until they give their NOC, we cannot really work on them. Though the funding is done by Punjab Heritage and Tourism Promotion Board, through the other funds reach to them, we cannot move further unless and until we have the NOC. So here you can see this was how the Gurudwara used to look, and the top areas were later developed civil structures. These were later built. Some forms were there and some areas were missing. So we tried to enhance it by putting a brass dome on top. Though here you see it as full dome, but from rear end, 1/4 part of it is a cavity. If in case some maintenance is done to is required to the fabricated structure, then in that case we can access through that. Multi-foliaged arches, anti-termite treatment, Belgium glass, various brass works were all introduced for the project. There are some areas wherein you can see plaque mentioning the period of construction and the name of that particular site, which was mostly written Gurmukhi, that is the native script. Then we move to Udasin Ashram Akhada Sangalwala. This is built by, the Akhada represents Baba Sri Chand Ji, who was son of Nanak Dev Ji, but he followed Hindu faith. It has around 2 to 3 floors. 3 floors beneath this ground level, the road level. Again, we have to reach to the Mahant of that particular Akhada. The entrance area was documented, each and every step, damages, needs and necessities of that particular Akhada. We have to interact with them. Sometimes they give us points. Here you see that this area was built with a room. Here you can see one profile, but here the wooden window is rectangular. Some minars were damaged, the kiosks. Then we took up this profile and developed the facade in this manner. You can compare them. Though it is the line work now, but because it has to be self-explanatory when it goes to the tender document, all the drawings have to be submitted in a readable form. Each and every entrance door, Sangalwala Sangal is chain. It was a brass chain. Udasin Ashram Akhada Sangalwala, Sangal is chain. You access from the ground floor to the lower floor, basement floor. This is Baba Bohor's temple. You can see a lot of banyan. Bohor is banyan tree, and which is a holy tree in Hindu faith. So from that particular shrine, the temple would have been built later on, and it being a holy tree, no branches of them were cut. They used to pass by the adjoining residences, and from their wall, it will come out of like their ceilings, but they will not cut a single branch or any part of it. Rather, it will be held strong by clamping them, and even the people who are responsible, they'll keep on tightening the bolts as and when required. You can see the facade. It has been presented in a reduced form. You can see the lifestyle. Cycle rickshaws were very common. Now things have changed. The main entrance from Hall Gate to Golden Temple seems very polished. It is more of Rajasthani artwork. But the moment you move within the inner lanes, you can see the various art forms. Here you can see the balcony, which has been enclosed with wonderful woodwork, intricate like artworks on them. Every area has to be checked if any part is missing, damaged, replaced later on, modified. They have to be redone in the original form. References are all available there. We just have to replicate them. Here you see the inner part from where you have to reach here, the ground floor. The lower left, you can see a man sitting on top of the roof and doing some maintenance work. Now that's how the branches go from all corners. Again, in their own manner, whatever best knowledge they had, they painted it in enamel paint in white. And you can see every festive time, you can see some illuminations hung on the left with cables running around. So we defined areas specifically for them, how to hang their illumination. Otherwise, the routine practice was it was nailed every time here and then without even learning should it be done or no, because the person who is executing the task is not that alert or that sensitive to avoid it. On the top right image, you can see that how the branches are clamped. This is worth visiting, though it's very small shrine. The various art forms you can see here. The Pinjra work which we saw initially. And as you know, that's something which is very important to be known, that why these stretches are important. There is a stretch by the name Crawling Street. In 1919, April 1919, there was a situation wherein the British were flogging Indians who used to move from that particular stretch, which was defined for 180 meters. Now, when you move from that particular stretch, they were holding them captive, they were whipping them, tying to a well on the wall. And before Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place, many of similar situation occurred. As the native people had to jump the well and they had to give up their lives with all the pain and torture they were undergoing. Most of the times we experience that whatever situation comes for our national security, the first and foremost insecurity is faced by the native people who are placed on the borders of adjoining countries. Like now with Pakistan on border of Punjab and Rajasthan, these are the states who face the first tough situation. They all have to live their life with great care, and threat is always around them. Any small distress at national level also affects their lifestyle. So when you move around, though the state and city is rich in culture, but every time you interact with the person, he'll tend to put you a lot of questions. And the reason behind that is the lifestyle what they have undergone. Now here on the right, you see an image with its first floor balcony where my cursor is. The entire lower line of the balcony is painted in tin sheets with lifestyle of people. Some of them even depict the British lifestyle and the Euro lifestyle. We get surprised how they came there. But then it's all the past history. And we recorded these areas and made it a point that it should be cleaned and exposed so that it should be made visible to the people around, the visitors who come there. And as I spoke to you about the rich culture of this particular city, the entire old town, old walled city is in a defined fortified region, which has got 14 gates all around. Some of them are in existence, some are not in existence. And as you enter from Hall Gate, you move ahead, you realize that it's just a routine city which we are entering in. But the entire periphery of this fortification wall had a moat in the earlier days. It was completely filled and a road was built upon that, so that the people nearby can access from all sides of it. Now these are some privately owned buildings when you pass by. Now these buildings you will only get a chance to witness provided you take a simple diversion from the main road. If you move ahead straight away to Golden Temple, you will miss all this. So idea was to hold people for a longer time. The painstaking work was done by our entire team to document each and every building, though I have not presented a lot of drawings here because of certain limitations. But the way a heritage walk should be developed, that was the approach, how to reach to there, first document them, interact with people, get their NOCs, prepare the estimate, even the literature of the DPR, everything was prepared, and then the estimation was reached to. In this, great effort was taken by our social development officers, community development officers, our entire team. It was a collective work. Nothing was done in individual capacity. And as such a vast project required a lot of inputs from various areas. So it was a collective work, starting from the office staff who used to take print to the CAD support, the draftsmen, support staff, though some of them did not come from the previous background of heritage or conservation, but provided you have interest and zeal to nurture yourself in a particular field, of course you can do it. So I developed my passion in this field of upkeeping heritage site of our nation. I come from a army background, though I could not join Indian Army, but I decided to serve my nation in a different way. And that's how this career and passion was developed. It's been time that we had been working for later for Himachal Pradesh, doing a similar job, and then to Indore, working on Rajwada, Harirao Holkar Chhatri, Mallarao Holkar Chhatri, Gopal Mandir, again developing 3 to 4 heritage walks in Indore. Then in Udaipur, again, we did similar tasks. So such is a journey. So I wish all the students and aspirants to take up this particular profession and contribute their own self for keeping and maintaining the rich grandeur and heritage culture, which actually depicts our past. So that was a short presentation from me. Though there is time limitation, we have to limit our slides. So of course, anyone who wants to reach to me, my details are mentioned below, my email ID and number. You can always reach to me or take from the institute. Any doubts or any clarifications, I'll feel glad to be a part. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abraham sir.
I hope I'm in time, 5:30 closing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was just excellent. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear, ma'am.
Yes, yes. So I think I'll open the house for some question answers. There has been a lot of appreciation on the chats, but I would like the people who want to ask questions, they can directly unmute themselves and ask the questions directly to Patros, sir.
Please.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, can I be heard?
I can hear you.
This is Manish Patil from Aurangabad, sir. Architect Manish Patil.
Hello, Manish. How are you?
Very fine, sir. I hope you're keeping safe and sound.
Great, great, great.
And is everybody. Yeah. Sir, as you're aware, I'm concerned with the environmental factor affecting buildings and building use. I just was curious as to when you were doing such an extensive and beautiful research that you've done, in your observation of the degradation caused by environmental factors like sun, rain, wind, etc. I see those noise pollution or the vibrations caused by the noise pollution is a pocket of the city. What are your observations about which part of the environment has caused the most damage or
Okay. Now coming to our nation, we learn from our past experiences that the wind direction is southwest, right?
Right.
So of course, the sound pollution the waves will pass from that particular end. So you can, you have learned that we face ourselves towards east most of the time, or west or north, right? So southwest direction is the part from where the winds comes. Now, when it comes to vegetation and plantation, southwest is the part from where the wind blows, and accordingly, sound pollution gets increased from that end. Of course, there has to be some screening. Some curtain has to be created. If it's a house wherein you have sufficient compound wall, so tall plants will of course help a lot. Tall trees, rather, we have Ashoka trees and other vegetations which can be done. Now, what I learned from this experience of mine, sir, is like as an architect in general, we try to work on every area and every aspect. Yes, we can do, but when it comes to very intricate expertise, it is always good to engage experts who are working in that related field. As I said, for this particular project, we had environmental specialists, we had safeguards, we had community development officers, various estimators in various fields like electrical, civil. So it is always good that if it is beyond our like knowledge, we can always browse, we can always get details, but a teamwork will help develop a better project. So it is a project wherein I learned personally through my experience that it's very beneficial and fruitful for the project when you share your works and get moving.
Very true, sir. But sir,
Yes.
I just needed your observation on what part of the environment did you actually find the most impact on the structures? Which
Now here it is algae deposits because every time it rains, so by next time, but the benefit was now for us, we can scrape it, we can redo the work. I mean, in this project we developed replastering some damaged areas because there were like defects in the cavities of the plaster. The plaster popped out completely and there were complete fungal deposits in between, which was further helping deteriorate other parts adjoining it. So we had to remove it totally and then redo it. Now lime wash, which we used to do in the past, had this disinfecting quality. Every festive season, like may it be Diwali or any other occasion, we have tendency to scrape it, clean it. The person who comes does the task and he does the cleaning for us. So unlike now, once it is painted, I think we take 4 years, 5 years, even more than that to repaint a house. So after every 12 months, rainy season, then summer of course helps. But then that repainting task was always helpful for these buildings. So we always used to find multiple layers of paints. But to reach to the original layer, we had to remove it, like the process of developing the project.
Sir, there is a question from one of our faculty, Professor Ketan Shah.
right,
Yes.
sir, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Manish.
How did you? Yes, sir. Sir, there is another question from one of our faculties, Professor Ketan Shah. How did you create new specifications which was not included in the DCR, and how did you justify rate analysis for new items?
Okay, this is a very interesting question, and that is where our willful joining the project comes in. Like we had to go to the traders, like for example, if it's, let's take a brass dome. So we had to go to the person who manufactures brass sheet. We had to reach to the person who makes, there is a famous Bartan Bazaar in Amritsar. So we had to go to the Bartan Walas. You have seen this vessels in which they carry milk and everything. It has got multiple layers. Even the nails are of brass. So we used to reach to people who actually create intricate artworks in brass and ask them the cost for the task what we are supposed to execute. Similar rates and quotations will be taken by 3 agencies. No hypothecation, no calling any known contractor and asking him to give rates on his rate list just to complete the estimate. Physically, we have to reach, get the rates, then add labor, his profit, then coming to the contract, the main cost, the transportation, each some unforeseen items and costs were also miscellaneous. Some crops, civil areas while working will add in some fabricated structures and all. So it was to reach to one item. So the entire item will not be a non-DSR item. It has to be worked upon. So there, the items which are available in DSR, like if you have to make a fabricated structure to rest a dome. So fabrication is available in DSR. I don't have to take any rates for that. So like that, rate lists were taken, the quotations were taken, then the rate analysis was done, and then the rate was confirmed and the estimates were prepared. That's the standard process of working. And that was very interesting because in Amritsar, in Punjab, items were not much available. Unlike Rajasthan, in Rajasthan, ARC BSR, Archaeology Department's schedule of rates, building schedule of rates, you have many items which are available. But you cannot reach.
Thank you so much.
Rates. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more question from one of our faculties, Pallavi Mandle, madam. how the aspect of socio-economic change has influenced the heritage walk and the selection of buildings throughout the walk, which you had decided, because the walled city undergoes many changes, the socio-economic effect. So she's asking about that, sir.
So now again, this is something which I would suggest other administrators who are there in the present meet. See, the thing is, like, for example, when you're working on a stretch, you may disturb livelihood of 3 or 4 shops, or maybe the people who are like have their shops and buildings ahead of it or adjoining it. So these shoplets and people whose now socio-economic relates to the native lifestyle and the economy of that particular area. So for the people who live in the nearby region, we had to plan a secondary alternate route from which they could access. And second, coming to the economical part, we had to calculate their livelihood. Like, for example, one person who is having his daily earning an income of X value, say 10,000 rupees. If our work goes on for 20 days, so that particular amount will be calculated, and through this project, we will compensate him, and that income of that many days will not be lost. So his livelihood will not get affected. That way we supported it. It is part of the project, and the benefit and the interesting part to work with a ADB funded project was this kind of provisions which were already made. So it was quite helpful for the native people. And when they learned that without the shutters and doing any cross business, they can always get their livelihood. Like, for only the material value is not calculated, but if whatever their profit margin is, that all rates were calculated by our staff, and that amount was handed over.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more question from anonymous attendee. Is it possible to map the entire thing through BIM platform?
Yes, with modern technology, it is possible. Now, when we came to doing measurements, at times we learned that laser scanning will be quite easy. But in 2012, affording a laser scanner worth 2.0 crores for a project of this size, I mean, though the stretch is 1.2 to 2 kilometers, in that we have 14 pause points, of which 11 pause points were taken. It was exhaustive funding and expenditure to be done on behalf of the department. So we decided to hire it from various institutes, but then that was not possible because the quotes which we received were very high. So we preferred to work manually, and it was foolproof. The measurements were foolproof. BIM will of course do a wonderful job, but yes, all the details which we documented, if taken to the particular software, will be beneficial to create that kind of image, and it will give a wonderful presentation in the coming days.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you so much. I think I've covered mostly all the questions. Now I would like to
ask a question.
Yes, sir. Yes,
my name is Tahir. Namaskar, Abraham sir. You made a very good presentation.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Inviting me for this presentation. There's a lot of clarity in your communication, and it's learning. Whenever an archaeologist or a heritage manager like me listens to you, we learn.
Yes.
Exposed earlier.
Yes.
Your project is very specific, and you have done a great job in what you have done. But I'm speaking in general terms, general terms. That whenever you document, you do perfectly. But when we replicate it, I don't think so we are able to come to the skills that what we were there earlier. So many times we are not able to do, even if you do it, it may look very good. But after a couple of years, a test of time, we feel it peels off. We are not able to replicate.
Sir, I remember one presentation of yours on a church in Goa, wherein the statement was that if a particular part of it that particular part lying in the collapsed state even speaks about recording that particular reason why it fell and the purpose. So historically, that has to be documented the similar manner. But in this stretch, which was not as important, main street leading from Fuara Chowk to Golden Temple, when we entered in, we learned that unless and until we replicate, because while getting the NOC, even the authorities, initially we went with this idea of if particular minaret is missing, let it stay missing so that we can tell to the later generations that yes, this minaret is gone due to certain reason. But later on, what we did was documented the damaged image by means of drawings, photographs, and videos, and then we reached to replicating that. And that's how the pre and the post records were maintained for those who want to go back and see the details. And every work was carried out in its original form. So by the time its execution came in, I had to move to another project to Himachal, and the related staff were resourceful in executing. So documentation was the topic, wherein students should have clarity. Like similar to this in Indore, I had a wonderful team of 17 students from IPS Academy. They worked with me with their voluntary interest. And today, some of them have decided to take up the career. The idea is to motivate the young generation and ask them to take forward the legacy to which represents our past and ancestors.
Thank you, Premjit, for good communication.
Thanks a lot.
And any other questions from the house? I think one of the students is again asking a similar question about how the this heritage walk has affected the life of the people who are living in the walled city. So that question was already addressed by Pathros sir.
But again, I think I would love to put a small point to that. Sometimes those who have pursued their arts and are not having a proper line to lead their further career in such projects, some people were identified who were quite interested to get into this kind of working. They were trained under the project. So training program is very important, wherein like development projects were also prepared under the entire project. And that way, some people were developed to lead a career as guides. Today, what has happened is guides who have been developed under the training, they don't need any further downline. If 7 foreigners from X country comes, goes, like 6 Germans came, they were satisfied. They'll publicize this particular guide to their friends who will come next, and that lot will directly reach on their contact. That way, all the guides who were involved in the project are extremely busy now. So I would suggest ever you are going to Amritsar, plan a day more, enjoy the local streets with their local delicacies like kulcha chole and everything. And these people will take you, the staff, the guides will take you in all lanes. For one Indian, it is 25 rupees. For one foreigner, 75 bucks. So I think getting a person at this cost, and now the rates might have been increased to in 2020, but it's still affordable. You reaching with the right guide will get the right details, the historic background, how it developed, and it will really help. People around, when they started seeing tourists coming in those lanes, they started maintaining their ambience. Everything was clean, garbage were arranged. Whereas initially the streets were not very clean, people started learning how to maintain hygiene and everything. And people were very happy, and they are quite satisfied by the services rendered on behalf of the entire team, which finally represented Punjab Heritage and Tourism Promotion Board. Under the guidance of the previous Principal Secretary, Mrs. Gitika Kala, who was our driver, you can say, she stayed there as 7 years on this title, and that's when this entire state's tourism got a good boom.
Yes,
so I for all my colleagues who worked with me, my team leader, my co-mates, my staff, my colleagues, and there was no difference of age, post, or experience. We all were friends, and you know Punjab, they are always warm-hearted people, and they love to meet and greet you with warmth. It was really interesting to work with them.
So
thank you.
Your answer was really very insightful for the students. And I'm pretty sure that whatever her doubts were regarding such intrusions in the old city must have cleared. Now, just one reminder to the whole house. is that our two sessions, webinar 3 and webinar 4 of the series of heritage sites of Indian cities, their upkeep, origin and conservation are still to come on 2nd of July and 4th of July. On 2nd, architect Vipul Varshne is going to present on Lucknow, the city of dreams, its morphogenesis. And on 4th, Professor Savita Raje from Manet Bhopal is going to present on the architectural and landscape heritage of Bhopal. I request all of you to be present there. They will be really good sessions. And in continuation to this session only, now I think it's time to address to Patros sir, and I should give him a formal vote of thanks. So I will just recap your presentation, sir. Seeing the presentation of Abraham sir, my belief in the famous proverb, God lives in details, is reinforced. The detailed drawings and the documentations display his passion for hard work and slogging and working relentlessly to come out with something which is really meaningful. The drawing and the explanation were so captivating with examples of details like the signboards and the local delicacies, which made the city actually come true in our eyes. The images were such that we could really feel that we were moving around in the old city of Amritsar. The fortified city of Amritsar within the 14 gates, as you explained, had come alive to us, sir. And we are really, really thankful, and particularly for the students. I am so thankful that the details and the intricacy of the drawings which you have shown, I think they must have motivated many students across who all are listening to your presentation. And I'm really grateful to you to agree to present this webinar. In fact, I had come in your contact at IPS Academy Indore, and that day only I had decided that I'll be interacting with you and calling you to our college. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot. Sir. Thanks a lot to one and all who took time from their valuable time from their schedule and made it possible. And thanks to the institute. SVIT Vasad has been really resourceful for all the reasons. Thank you, Taha sir. Thank you, Pallavi madam.
Just a minute, sir. One more thing.
Nair sir wants to, Nair sir.
One more thing, sir. I am very happy to see this presentation. I hope the students might have understood that what is the importance of a good drawings.